Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Beyond Grit with me, Robert Young. As the old saying goes, when one door opens, another one closes. So we dropped my son off at North Carolina University last Friday. He's 18 years old, he's a good kid, but man, was he just ready for his independence and freedom. You know, not that we were helicopter parents, but just now he can kind of come and go as he pleases, runs his own schedule, and he doesn't feel like we're watching his every move, which we weren't. But as a parent, you look forward to them gaining their independence. And at the same time, it's an end of an era. It's the end of having my kids at home all the time. And this will definitely take getting used to, but we're working on it. So this week, my guest is Jimmy Cantor. I've known Jimmy for about 10 years now. Tragedy struck him and his family nearly 13 years ago. They dropped their 4-month-old daughter off at daycare. She took a nap and never woke up. It's a parent's worst nightmare. She passed away from SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. Recently, he started a fund called For Joss Fund, an organization to raise awareness for SIDS and to raise money to provide parents with newborns a device called the Owlet Smart Sock. Now, this sock is something that newborns wear while they're sleeping, and it can track their vital stats such as heart rate, respiratory rate, and blood oxygen levels. Today, we talk about the organization, the sock, and how to deal with the loss of a child and much more. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee, a hot tea, and enjoy the show. What's up, Jimmy?
How's it going, Rob?
It's good. It's good. How's your day thus far?
Thus far has been good. Productive day work-wise. Yeah, been a good day.
Good. Yeah. Go to the gym?
Got a workout in, sweat a little bit.
Yeah.
Got the mind right.
Did you do anything other than the designated workout?
I did not do one thing of the designated workout today.
I did the whole thing.
Looked fun. I think I did something very similar yesterday, so I didn't want to repeat.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Did you follow the program from the Sugar Wad app yesterday?
Yes.
Where you did like the 3 workouts. It was like a workout, then rest 2 minutes, and then workout with the cleans.
Yes.
That was actually looked like a really good one.
It was really good. It was really tough.
Was it?
Yeah, I was glad it was. I would have never written it that heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really glad that it was, because it was.
Yeah, it just pushes you.
Yes, it was spicy.
That's like Saturday. You know, you end up pushing yourself a little bit more than usual. So Jimmy, I've known Jimmy for almost 10 years now, and I met him through CrossFit, which I've met a lot of my people is through CrossFit. So that's what we were just kind of talking about, CrossFit. But your week going good?
Week's been good. Yep.
Good.
Yeah, month's been good. Week's been good. It's been, got through the holidays and on to the new year.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
But we're only
that's right.
Maybe, what are we, 10 days into it?
10 days
11
in.
days into it.
But we're in Carolina, so.
I know, it's sunny out. Even if it's cold, it's freezing out, but at least the sun's out.
That's right. And it'll be spring in 3 weeks, 4 weeks. There'll be buds on the trees.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
That's what I like about it. When we were in Michigan for the holidays, we were in our old hood, and we woke up the next morning to the snow and the snowfall. And that night we went out, and like 3 drinks into it, Nicole was dreaming of moving back here, into the snow. I was like, and if we could get our same house, it would have to be in the same house. And then it went to, well, we'll just kind of come for the summer. And then we decided, it was such a stupid idea.
Right. So the good thing is, when you were there, you didn't once have to shovel snow, did you?
No.
That would have been you should have made someone shovel snow before you have that discussion if you're moving back.
I did have to scrape the windows once.
Oh,
that was it.
That is terrible.
That was it. It was one of those windshield frosts where you would take your credit card and just scrape out a small little spot and then drive.
Right.
But now I'm much more mature, and I only do it once every 3 years, so I scrape the whole windshield.
Yeah. So the other day, I have that 1968 Ford F-100, and it was frosted on the inside.
On the inside?
On the inside. It was great. So there must have been just enough condensation to freeze on the inside. And I did this scrape and lean to the side. It was so wonderful.
How long did it take to warm up to finally?
Oh, like a solid 15
minutes. Did it
minutes.
Even happen?
Oh, it was probably 5 starts before it would idle. And then a good 15 minutes of idle before it was ready to go.
Oh my God. That thing's amazing. Amazing. So I'm having Jimmy on the show. And what we're going to talk about and much more is a fund. And he has started a fund, and it's For Joss Fund. And what I'll have him explain what the fund is, what he's doing with it, and then we'll kind of get a little deeper understanding of why he started this fund. So give the people a little explanation on what you're doing.
So the fund is the For Joss Fund, runs mainly through Instagram and Venmo. Is a fund we started to honor my daughter who passed away from SIDS in 2009. We started it just under a year ago, and what we do is we have a main fundraiser that's coming up here in a few months. We sell T-shirts. All of the proceeds go to buying what's called an Owlet device. And that is a device that a baby can wear, a newborn to 1 year old, actually up to 18 months, can wear on their ankle. It looks just like a sock to them. And it gives real-time live feedback to the parents on their phone of, critical information. So not just that the baby's sleeping, but heart rate, blood oxygen level, breathing rate, respiratory rate, blood oxygen, so you can get a lot of good peace of mind with the device. And so, we provide those to families, sort of free of charge. And
how's it been going?
It's been unbelievable.
Yeah.
I can't believe from where this started in my head to where it is and my initial goals to where we are right now is mind blowing to me, with what I thought would be a fun, great way to remember my daughter and give away a few devices that I thought would help some people to, really, it's a small business at this point that luckily, because everybody who helps me has other jobs. It doesn't take a ton of time, but it's rewarding for me. It's a great way for me to remember my daughter. And it is very moving when I get to deliver one of the devices in person and to kind of see, you remember being a new parent and the stress that you're under, and you probably haven't slept in, 7 days since the baby was born, and your world just changed dramatically because, all of a sudden there's another human being in your life that, you have to care for 100%. So a lot of times the majority of what we've given away have been new parents, and I'm meeting these people kind of right at their worst moments, but they're so grateful and so gracious with their time actually when I'm there. Cause I really just want to drop it off, say thank you and wish them luck. And, it's just getting to know the families and stuff. It's been amazing. So it's been a wonderful experience for me.
Is this the only device like its kind out there, or are there other devices like it?
As far as I'm aware, it's the only device. There's probably some competing, we're going to keep an eye on that actually, because Owlet has pulled a device right now because they're looking for FDA approval.
Okay.
So we have a stock that we have purchased to keep us going through the year, but we will be looking at maybe some competitive devices as well, because if they don't come back online, obviously we need something else to give away. So.
Right. And why did FDA step in? Do you know?
I don't know the full story, but the few people I've talked to, it was originally under a monitoring device, and now it's being classified as a medical device, which I think is probably good for Owlet, the company, but you have to, the FDA asks you to pull the device, or cease all sales, I believe is the letter I received. They have to cease all sales while they're evaluating if they're going to grant it FDA approval.
It could actually make it better.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, for sure.
I think it's good, and I think it's something needed, and it's a peace of mind, and that's probably it. Because once you put the baby down, you put that sock on, it's kind of a peace of mind that everything's going to be okay. And So I think there needs to be some kind of checks and balances with regard to the device and
Sure.
what it's being used for.
And this device also will sound an alarm if any one of those metrics falls under a safe number. It will sound an alarm on any device that's connected to the same Wi-Fi and on the sock itself to hopefully startle the baby and wake it up if its breathing rate has gone down below a certain amount. We send a letter with everything basically saying, this is just peace of mind, and hopefully helps you get some rest and ease your worries as well. And we've been contacted by people we've given devices to that have had alarms sound, and they're beyond grateful.
Were you even, I remember when we had kids and when they were babies, and you kind of heard of the SIDS, of sudden infant death syndrome. And it was always kind of in the back of my mind. And I remember the first time the baby slept all night long, where it didn't wake you up at 3. And I'm telling you, I kind of levitated out of bed. Not that I was like, woohoo, slept all night, but holy cow, something might be wrong.
Right.
And up I went, and luckily it wasn't. God, that has to be one of the hardest milestones in somebody's life when they lose a child like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is with me every day, has been every day since, August 6, 2009. Not to overstate it, but not an hour goes by that I don't think about it. On some level, whether it's a nice thought or whether it's a sad, thought, or whether it's a gut-wrenching thought, it's always present. It's something that never goes away. And I've accepted that it's never going to. It's something I will never forget, and not you would ever forget it, but it's something that will shape what I do the rest of my life, no matter what I'm doing. So
was it at home?
So, our story is both the kids. So I have a son named Jack as well. Both the kids were at daycare, and we went to a concert. And so they were staying a little longer at daycare than they normally would have. And we got a phone call at the concert, and I instantly knew, just by the tone of Megan's voice, that life was never going to be the same. Whether or not she had passed away or not was still in question, but I knew I just knew somehow that things were not going to be the same. And we got to the hospital, and, I don't mind going in depth with anything. But in short order, we found out they had been working on her for, over an hour and a half with no response, and that, it was time to call it. And, then starts the process of, the stark realization that your life has changed forever for the worst. And, you have to deal with it in your own way, and you have to heal from it your own way. And you need the support of community, and you need the support of family. And, it's a club that those of us who have lost children don't want to be a part of, but you're part of that club forever. So
did you, I'm sure the moments and months and years after it happened, do you still, I'm trying to form a question to try to help somebody out there that may have recently gone through this, or somebody who went through something like this years before and yet still haven't been able to cope with it.
Yes.
Like how did you guys deal with it and help you heal?
So I would hedge and say I'm not fully healed, but I feel good in recognizing that fact. And I don't think I ever will be fully healed, but what is, I think there are, for anybody who is going through this, there are levels. And, for me, the initial level was get back to some normalcy of life. I remember the day after I cut the grass, just because I was craving to do something normal that, didn't cause me any brain power. So for that, that time frame, it was really just relying on daily activities to literally keep you breathing. And, mundane things of someone needs to make dinner. Okay, I'll make it. And literally having to think yourself through that entire thing, or you weren't going to eat that day. Mm. And there were probably days that we didn't eat, with the exception of, I would imagine we got jack food. And we were assigned a counselor from the church who was fantastic, but I don't know how trained they were. They would check on us to make sure that, we were functioning. And, and I think you can get to a point of function fairly quickly. But I can only give my journey. And in the last 18 months, I realized I had not healed. I had numbed a lot and I had shoved down a lot of feelings. And I had, I was clearly, you've known me for 10 years, I was a functioning human, but emotionally, I had not really dealt with it in a way that needed to be dealt with. I didn't know how to process a lot of my feelings. So we're talking, 13 years later, I went out and sought out professional help again. And I think anybody who goes through this, I think you should. I will say you should. I don't like telling people what to do, but I would say you should seek professional help on a regular basis. You're going to feel good for a while, and then you're going to remember some things, or you're going to start feeling loss that you either haven't felt in a long time, and you're going to need help getting through that. And I think a professional is the best way to do it. Even if you think you don't need help, I think it's in your best interest to seek professional help on a regular basis. Talk about it and let the professional get to something that you don't know why you're hurting. And it may take a few hours, a few sessions, a few tears, a few boxes of Kleenex, but you will finally get to that and maybe get a little bit of peace to where you're at peace for a while. And then it's probably going to happen again. Like I said, this is going to be with me for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I'm sure that you took a period where you just buried it.
Yes.
Like I gotta, because that's the whole thing in a lot of people. They're like, well, I've just got to keep busy. And if I keep busy enough, then I'm going to move through it. And then whatever I was dealing with will go away. And doesn't always go away, especially something, a tragedy like that.
Yes. I would say it almost never goes away.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah. And I would say most mental health issues like that, they don't go away. You bury them. You try and cover yourself from work. You try and cover yourself from workouts at the gym or whatever. But what you're running from typically is still there. Mm-hmm. Very, very, very rarely would I say that is actually, it's not that it doesn't help the situation, but it's not going to get you over that hump.
Yeah, it'll never get you over the hump.
Right.
And it's funny, with the kids and you're going to go through it, and you're probably going through it now, where you're always thinking about them. You're always worried about them. You're always wondering, are they doing the right thing? Are they, and kids look at you like you're crazy and leave me alone and I'm fine. But, it's just something as humans, when we have that and we've created that they're just with us forever.
Right.
It doesn't matter if they're in college. It doesn't matter if anything happens, they're with us forever.
Right.
And so do you wish you would have gone therapy earlier on?
Yes, 100%. I wish I'd gone therapy earlier on. I didn't see a need for it. Like I said, we talked to a counselor, but I wish that we had done therapy immediately. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that process would have been like because we didn't do it, but I can only speak for myself again. I clearly needed therapy before I went and found it. So, yes, I wish I did.
And the whole mental health, I don't want to say industry, but the whole thing of mental health has grown, in popularity over the years. When you and I were coming up and we were growing up, all you saw was in the movies, and you'd see somebody laying on the couch and you would have the therapist, and you're like, I don't need that. and now it's so different. It's so interactive, and you talk and you figure things out, and they ask questions to pull things out of you that you never even thought was there.
Correct.
And maybe there was just a misconception on it. And there's so many people that need it.
Well, there's so many people that need it. And from a male standpoint, there's so much machismo as, I can handle this. I've got this. I don't need help. I can get over this. This is just a being tougher thing. This is just I can be stronger. I don't, and that's, as far as mental health, depression, anything like that is concerned, that's not the case. It's not be stronger. It's not tough this out. It's you're hurting. It's okay to say you're hurting and talk to somebody who can really help.
Mm-hmm.
Friends are great. Friends are awesome. But like you said, a professional therapist, you're having a conversation with them and you don't even know they're going somewhere. And all of a sudden you find yourself there.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, holy cow, that's like that. I just feel a relief of emotion that, has been built. I didn't even know it was, I couldn't pick why it was weighing me down, but we just had this 45-minute conversation and it got me to a headspace that I'm now really good. And I worry about males, not that I don't worry about females, but they tend to be able to say I'm hurting a lot faster than a male can.
Yeah.
So I do worry about that with a lot of our friends, with a lot of, people who are owning their own business and just, they think they can just work their way out of a lot of their struggles. And God, I just wish they would reach out and check in once a month, once a quarter with a professional to see where they are.
It's so funny because people will, at the drop of a hat, call somebody and say, hey, I need help doing this, or I need help with figuring out how to get my more followers on Instagram and this, but through times of stress and low periods, they can't reach out to somebody else and say, man, I am struggling with this.
Yep. That's exactly right.
And it's just to ask for help. And there's people out there that are ready to help you.
Right.
If you need it.
And there's really, you think about it, there's no difference from you calling me and saying, hey, can you help me put up some drywall? Should be the same thing.
Yep. And I don't know why it has that stigma, in this person's weak or this person. Why?
Right.
I don't get it. And I don't know if that is just our generation coming up. And it could be, because like I said, you didn't hear about it.
Right.
You hear about it a lot now. But we still don't hear about it enough.
No, I don't think we do. And I mean, I think a lot, our parents didn't discuss their emotions that I'm aware of. I mean, maybe they did to each other, but they said, I love you and those kind of things. But there wasn't like, hey, dad's really stressed and depressed right now because, XYZ is happening. That just wasn't talked about. So.
Yeah. Dad would probably be at work and
right.
never home and,
Right.
And that's how they dealt with
That's
it.
Right. That's exactly right.
How was it with Jack? And I know he was younger at the time, but there's still, it doesn't matter. How did he?
Yes. So Jack, and I can never, I'll get emotional for the first time here. I can't put into words what that little 2-year-old provided us in support with just being a kid at the time. He was too young to remember. Mm-hmm. He knew his sister was gone. And I think he knew, and he was sad about it initially. And he's sad about it to this day, but he didn't dwell on it. He was looking for the next playmate. Mm-hmm. So his sister's gone, doesn't really understand she's not coming back. So he just wanted to be a kid, play with toys and go do this and set up a train. And it was kind of that numbing help that was, I just need to focus on him right now and let's make sure he's happy and having a good time. And it helped immensely with keeping you in a daily routine. He has trouble talking about it to this day. And I always tell him, any one of us is willing to listen. I try and check in at a minimum, once a quarter specifically about this, or if we're having difficult conversations around whether it be the fund, her birthday, the anniversary of her death, that kind of thing. I'm always checking in. He is someone that I would love to get professional help because I think he will deal with it. He has to deal with it in a different way than we did. He feels a loss and he doesn't know, I don't think, how to place it because he doesn't really remember her.
Mm-hmm.
He knows pictures and he knows stories and he knows how good of a big brother he was and that kind of stuff. But I don't think he truly remembers the time. I mean, he was just over 2 years old, so he had her from when he was 18 months to 2 years. So roughly. So, but he loves, the events we do. He loves, remembering her, but he does get emotional about it. So I think there's some stuff there that I encourage him to talk to somebody professional. It's hard convincing, a teenager who thinks you're the dumbest person on earth that they need to go see a professional. So, but he's good. I appreciate you asking.
Yeah. So, that was good. Oh, good. So what do you guys have coming? Thank you for sharing your story.
So can I add one thing?
Yeah, 100%.
So I get asked the question a lot. I know somebody who's going through this, or I know someone, my boyfriend, girlfriend, ex, whatever is going through this. How do I help? And the only real advice I can give you is be present. Let them know you're there. Let them know you're around. Sit with them. If you're in that close of a relationship with the person, sit with them, be around. But you can't do the work for them. You can't force them to do things. You can't force them to seek professional help, but you can be present. And because you're not going to be able to relate that, what the loss of a child is like. I can't help them and I can relate, but everybody's circumstance is different with reasoning behind the death and whatever it is. All you can be is present, be there for them and make them dinner.
Yeah.
Bring them a lunch. Make a phone call, check in, and just have a conversation about anything. The football game last night, playing guitar, any of those things, be present for them. You can't fix the fact that their child's gone, but you can be a positive influence in their life while they try and heal through it. So
that's good advice. Because sometimes people shy back away and they're like, well, I don't want to bug them. And you're saying kind of the opposite. Like, just reach out and say hi. What are you doing?
That's right.
How's it going?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good advice for me too, because like I said, I'm one of those where they're kind of doing their thing, and I don't want to bug them. Where I should probably be reaching out,
right,
and saying hi.
Right. More often than not, I would say if you have the feeling I should reach out to this person, you probably should. It more often than not is going to help than hurt.
And were you still in Ohio when this happened?
Yes.
Okay.
We were still in Cincinnati. And I, you look at signs or, fortune, coming your way. I was offered a job about a year prior to this happening. Would have been in Atlanta, Georgia. And for various reasons turned it down and stayed in Cincinnati. And I can't imagine going through that in a brand new place. That's what I mean by be present, is the amount of support that came out of the woods for, meals showing up on our front porch and people showing up on my back porch that night. Just, I don't even know how they heard, but just showing up and holding me and, talking about anything, was I don't think it would have been survivable in a place where you didn't know anybody. So thank God I was still in Cincinnati at that point. Because down here, knowing nobody would have been unbearable.
Yeah. Did you feel like the move from there to here helped at all?
I do. It wasn't the reason, but I do think it was a clean start to help kind of forget some memories because we had to drive by the hospital. We had to drive by, the daycare. It was a person's house. We had to drive by their house, and they were good friends. And, it's
How did they handle it?
The unfortunate thing is I've lost contact, and it has had as dramatic of effect on her life as it has ours.
Yeah.
She wasn't able to speak to us to the day we left. And I've lost touch with them through Facebook. I'm not really on Facebook anymore, but, she was not handling it well. So it had a dramatic effect on their life. I was just thinking about reaching out to them the other day. I don't even know where to start. I guess I could log on Facebook and try and dig it out. But so I think not having to drive by those things and drive by the concert venue we were at and those kind of things helped kind of put some things behind us. But again, I think to some extent we were running from not knowing how to process a lot of things. But that's where, 10 years later, I was able to find the help. Not that I needed a couple, 18 months ago.
Yeah.
I will need more. There's no doubt I will need more.
Mm-hmm.
So
was this, were you starting with somebody before we went on our trip?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So it was ironically right at the start of COVID that I started seeing somebody, because I actually never met the person in person. I set things up. This particular, I realized I talked to somebody before a few times,
mm-hmm.
and realized I needed a grief counselor. I didn't realize I thought I needed like a life counselor, and what I needed was a grief counselor. And so I found this particular guy who I really liked and set up an appointment with him, and we had to cancel it and put it, online.
That's a good thing that you just brought up. And the type of counselor that you needed.
Yes.
Because 10 years later, you're figuring, like you said, I need a counselor, a life counselor. What's going on? And take it all the way back, and a grief counselor. You're still grieving.
Yes.
That's really important.
And that's where, right. That's very important. And also he had me within 30 minutes realizing how little I had healed. I just assumed the pain I was in was something that I was just going to be in for the rest of my life. And he very clearly stated, it's okay to feel pain, but you shouldn't be laying on the floor, still not able to move. You have not dealt with a lot of things you need to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave me amazing ideas. He gave me great work to do outside of talking to him. That was really kind of the impetus for this, for the foundation. But it was right before we started, right around the kick in of COVID. But finding that right person, and that's finding specifically what I needed, is important. So if you're looking and you think that it may be related to something like a death, then grief counseling is great. If you're depressed, find someone who specializes in depression. Man, I can't tell you how good it feels when you don't have to deal with the pain that you're stuck in that you think is everyday life.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Do you still go the same amount, or have you kind of, how often were you going in the very beginning? And the reason I ask the question is because I don't think it's something that you can go, I'm going to go see somebody a couple times and I should be good.
Yeah, correct.
Right.
That's great. So I was seeing him weekly.
Okay.
And I think even once I saw him twice in 1 week, just because we were getting to some really heavy stuff. And he's like, I really don't want to wait a full week. Do you have time later in the week? So yeah, but I was seeing him weekly to start with. And then it adjusted to 2 weeks. And then right around our trip, it went to monthly. For reference point, for people who don't know, our trip would have been in July of 2020. July of 2020. And coming back from that, it stayed monthly for a little bit. And then he's like, you're doing really well. So we went quarterly. And then after we went quarterly a few times, he was like, I'm really proud of you. You're doing great. Here's the things I want you to look for. And if you feel yourself feeling these things again, call me. I don't think you need to see me right now. He's like, but you probably will in the future. But right now you're good. But when you start having this overwhelming feeling, that overwhelming feeling, this XYZ, call me. So it was definitely a process. I would say 3 months of talking to him weekly, and then going down to monthly. It's a process.
Yep.
It's not, you're not going to find this in one meeting. You're not going to get the healing you need in one meeting over, one session with somebody.
And now, moving forward, you've started this fund. What else are you looking to do
with the fund?
Yep, with the fund. And how do you want to grow it? And do you think that you're going to do anything more with regard to this, or is this kind of what you've got time for?
So, no, I have a 1, 3, 5 year plan for the fund. It will be less aggressive than what a Wall Street person would want you to put in place for a 1, 3, 5 year plan. But I want to continue to grow and provide these devices, or a similar device if the need arises. But I hope to get to the point that we are providing, I don't know if it would be counseling, but I want to expand to just more than just providing devices. I want to raise more awareness for SIDS, but the ultimate dream in 5 years would be to provide, some sort of counseling for people who have lost a child. Mm-hmm. I don't know how that happens, but it's written down as the 5-year goal. So right now, we'll figure out in a couple years how we get to that point. If we can team with a hospital, if we can, there's things I need to vet out on that end. But so yes, we definitely want to expand. We want to expand on the number of devices we're giving out per year, the awareness of the fund itself, so that maybe you see a shirt, that we sold. It has nothing to do with CrossFit. That would be my hope.
Yeah.
That we get to that point that it's not a CrossFit driven event, but we'll see. But it's definitely in the cards to continue to grow.
Mm-hmm. But it's a good place to start the CrossFit and the CrossFit community, and
yes,
start where your people are.
That's right. It's an amazing community. It's an amazing giving community. For people who don't know CrossFit, it really does bring out the best in people, in my opinion, from a personal side. Mm-hmm. To want to give, to want to help, to want to be a part of it. It's, their support's been amazing.
When's the next event?
So our main event that right now, the main event we have yearly is an event called Barbells and Butterflies. It's coming up April 30th. Details coming still. So like when I said we're expanding small, I think we had 8 heats of the event. It's going to be a similar format, half-hour heats. I think we'll expand to like 10, maybe 12.
Okay.
And we're going to see if we can get some commitments from some other gyms to take up some spots. But we don't want to have this be an all-day event, because I think we really hit a really nice spot of fun and fundraising and a good event. Mm-hmm. I don't want to have to be there at 4:30 in the morning and still be there at 8:30 at night.
Right.
Can we get to an event that can get there? Yes. But I want it to happen at the right pace. I don't want to try and, double the amount of heats and have a vendor village and it be too much and not be an enjoyable situation and not something people want to come back and do. Right now, I'm hearing from people, I can't wait for it to come back.
Yeah.
So I want to keep the demand up, essentially. So we'll expand a little bit. We will have some extra heats. We will have probably a few vendors to be there and provide some sort of recovery, massage or cryotherapy or something. We'll have food. We'll have beer. It'll be a fantastic time.
Yeah, it was fun. I remember the last time. It was good food. The music was fantastic.
The music was out of this world.
Out of this world. Live music.
Yes.
It was fantastic.
Probably the best I've heard in Charlotte.
At least there.
Yeah.
Right there within that square quarter mile. I agree with you.
Yes. I mean, the guitar players for that band are probably the best looking dudes in Charlotte, and they play so well.
So well.
And they play very upbeat, very fast music. I mean, it's rock and roll all the way through.
Whether it's supposed to be or not. It is good stuff. Are you still playing your guitar?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yep. Every day.
I know. I got to get back. We have to get back playing together.
Yes.
And, like I was thinking when you were talking about therapy, I was thinking like anything else, it's practice. And you're not going to pick up the guitar and go to 3 sessions and all of a sudden you're great, right?
Right.
It's practice and it's something to work at.
Yes.
And same with therapy. But how can people find you?
So our main voice is through @4JOSFund. So that's a number 4 @4JOSFund on Instagram. That is our main communication outlet right now. There's a link to our Venmo page and I think PayPal page for donations. Our donations are open year round, but we have, like I said, we have some major events that we try and push towards where we're actually trying to generate a lot of funds. And then we sell T-shirts. They're open. That store is available through 485 Media. That the shirts are always up, and I'm excited about this year's shirt. It's a little more stylish, a little more 70s, 80s vibe to it, which is hopefully something people want to wear out more than just to work out in. But that should all be posting very soon. The new shirt, a little more details. We're gonna release details as we nail them down for the event. But the date is set of April 30th.
April 30th.
The workout will be a little bit different for you CrossFitters out there. It won't be the exact same workout, but it will still be a similar format of heats every 30 minutes, probably some sort of 20 to 25 minute AMRAP of doing something or some amount of work. So.
Plus, if you click on the link in the Instagram bio, it's got 2 other links too. One of them explains the owlet sock, and the other one explains and has some awareness on SIDS itself.
Yes.
So if you're looking for information too.
SIDS.org is an amazing site. It was one of the struggles we had with putting this foundation together. It didn't make sense to me to have people donate money for me to just donate it to another foundation. And SIDS.org does a great job that's SIDS. They do a great job of getting information. They have fantastic information for people. A lot of people don't like to hear. Don't have your baby sleep face down in the first year. That's hard for some parents. But the fact is, your baby is much safer sleeping on their back for the first year. So it's a tremendous website. They do a lot of great work. So, yes, definitely click through there and check out their site for a lot of information about SIDS, how to prevent it. Share the information with your friends and family, people who are having a baby. It's always good to know that information.
Cool. I appreciate you coming and telling your story.
That's it. We're done.
That's it.
Man, that was easy.
You got more?
No, I don't.
We can talk about our clothes, our jeans, our jean game.
Well, I appreciate you having me. It's great to get the name out there and to continue to grow it. So
no, I hope that this helps, and not only the fund. I hope that this will help anybody that may be struggling with something to know that go and seek help and talk about it and heal. I mean, life is too short to go through it with some type of pain. Go heal and put your pride away.
Exactly.
Cool.
Thanks for the time,
buddy.
Rob.
All right, man.
Appreciate it.
Take care. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of Beyond Grit with your host, me, Robert Young. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, rate, and review. Tell somebody about it. You can find this podcast on all major podcast platforms, and be sure to tune in every Wednesday for another exciting success story of somebody going beyond grit. Until then, take care.